Maya and Arif were driving home on a quiet country road as the sun was slowly setting behind the hills. The sky was painted with shades of orange, pink, and purple, and the last warm light of the day touched the green fields along the roadside. The air smelled fresh from the rain that had stopped a few hours ago, and tiny droplets still clung to the leaves of the trees. The road was empty, and the only sounds were the soft hum of the car engine and the occasional chirping of birds returning to their nests. Arif drove carefully, enjoying the peaceful scenery, while Maya watched the sky change colors. She loved this time of the day. It felt calm and quiet, as if the whole world had paused for a moment. Maya leaned back in her seat and sighed happily, feeling the stress of the day slowly leave her body. Suddenly, Arif slammed on the brakes. Maya's heart jumped in her chest and she leaned forward. "What happened?" she asked. On the side of the road, illuminated by the car's headlights, was a small dog. Its brown fur was wet and dirty, and it looked tired and scared. The little animal's tail was tucked under its body, and it shivered despite the blanket of warm light from the car. The dog's eyes met theirs, wide and pleading, and something in Maya's heart immediately softened. "Poor thing," Maya whispered. "We can't just leave it here," Arif nodded. "It looks lost. Maybe someone dropped it or it ran away. Either way, it needs help." Without a second thought, Maya opened the car door. The cool evening air rushed in, carrying the smell of wet grass and earth. She knelt down slowly, trying not to scare the dog. "Come here, little one," she said softly, holding out her hands. The dog hesitated. Its small body shook, and it looked toward the road as if unsure whether the humans were friendly or dangerous. Maya stayed calm and spoke gently. "It's okay. We just want to help you. Nothing will hurt you." After a few tense moments, the dog took a careful step forward, then another. Finally, it reached Maya and sniffed her hands. Maya smiled and gently scratched behind its ears. The dog let out a soft whine, then pressed its body against her, seeking warmth. Arif got a blanket from the back seat. He wrapped it around the trembling dog and it immediately curled up, feeling safe for the first time in a long while. The couple exchanged a glance, both feeling a mix of relief and concern. "Let's take it home for the night," Maya said. "We can figure out the rest in the morning." Arif nodded. "Yes, it's too cold and wet to leave it here. It deserves a safe place tonight." They gently placed the dog in the back seat, making sure it was comfortable. It nestled between the two of them, resting its head on Maya's lap. Its small, round eyes blinked up at her with gratitude, and Maya felt a strange warmth spread through her chest. "Do you think it has a collar?" Arif asked, checking the dog carefully. There was no collar, no tag, nothing that could tell them who the owner might be. Maya's brow furrowed. Whoever the dog belonged to, they had clearly lost it, or maybe it had been abandoned. As they drove, the dog stayed close, occasionally glancing at them with those deep, trusting eyes. Maya found herself talking softly to it, telling it that everything would be okay. Arif glanced at her and smiled. "You've already bonded with it," he said. "You're going to want to keep it." Maya laughed softly. "Maybe. But first it needs a warm place to sleep and some food." When they reached home, they set up a small bed in the living room with soft blankets and a cushion. The little dog sniffed the bed curiously, then jumped in carefully. It looked around the room, eyes wide but cautious, before curling up in the middle of the soft blankets. Maya and Arif gave it some water in a small bowl. The dog lapped it up quickly, then sniffed the food they put in front of it. At first it hesitated, but hunger soon overcame caution, and it started eating slowly. Watching it, Maya felt a sense of relief. The dog was safe now, at least for tonight. "What should we name it?" Maya asked, stroking the dog's damp fur gently. Arif thought for a moment. "Toby," he suggested. "It's simple and friendly, just like him." The dog lifted its head as if it liked the name and wagged its tiny tail slightly. Maya smiled. "Toby it is." They sat on the couch, watching Toby as he settled into the bed they had made. Maya felt a strange sense of connection to the little dog. It was as if he had chosen them, not the other way around. She looked at Arif and he nodded in agreement. "He came to us for a reason," Maya whispered. That night, the couple stayed in the living room, worried about their new guest. Toby seemed calm but alert, his ears twitching at every small noise. He occasionally whimpered in his sleep, and Maya reached out to comfort him each time. Despite the calmness of the evening, there was a strange feeling in the air, something that made them both a little uneasy. As they watched Toby, Maya thought about how small and vulnerable he was when they found him. The thought of him alone on the road made her heart ache. "I can't believe someone would just leave him there," she said softly. Arif nodded. "Some people are careless, but at least we found him in time. We gave him a second chance." Toby shifted slightly in his sleep, curling closer to Maya. She smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart she hadn't felt in a long time. It was more than just the satisfaction of helping an animal. It was the feeling of being needed and trusted, a connection that didn't require words. Hours passed, and the night grew darker. The couple dozed in the living room, taking turns keeping an eye on Toby. The soft sound of his breathing became a comforting rhythm. For the first time that day, Maya felt truly peaceful. When she finally fell asleep, she dreamed of a small brown dog running through fields of green, the sun shining above, happy and free. It was a simple dream, but it filled her with hope. She didn't know what the next day would bring, but for now, everything felt right. The night passed quietly, with only the occasional rustle of leaves outside and the soft sounds of Toby's breathing to break the silence. Maya and Arif had no idea that the events of the next morning would bring surprises beyond their imagination, and that their small act of kindness would lead to something they could never have expected. For now, though, the little dog was safe, warm, and cared for, and that was enough. The night grew darker, and the quiet sounds of the countryside wrapped around Maya and Arif's home. The soft rustling of leaves in the breeze, the distant calls of birds settling in their nests, and the faint hum of insects in the garden created a calm and peaceful atmosphere. Inside the house, Maya and Arif focused on making Toby feel safe and comfortable. After setting up the small bed with blankets in the living room, Maya sat beside Toby and stroked his damp fur gently. Toby closed his eyes for a moment, leaning into her hand, and then looked up at her with trusting eyes. Arif filled a small bowl with water and placed some food nearby. At first, Toby sniffed the food cautiously, as if unsure whether it was safe to eat, but the hunger in him soon overcame his hesitation, and he began to eat slowly, savoring each bite. Maya smiled softly, watching Toby eat. "You're safe now, Toby," she whispered. "No one will hurt you here." Arif nodded in agreement, sitting next to her. "We will take care of him," he said. "He will have a warm home and love from now on." After Toby finished eating, he curled up on his little bed. He seemed tired but alert, occasionally lifting his head to glance around the room. Maya and Arif could see the relief in his eyes. He had come to them at exactly the right time, and they both felt lucky to have found him. Maya went to the kitchen to make some tea for herself and Arif. As she poured the steaming liquid into mugs, she thought about the way Toby had appeared on the road. It was almost as if fate had brought them together. She carried the mugs back to the living room, and they sat quietly, enjoying the warmth of the tea and the comfort of the little dog resting nearby. The hours passed, and Toby began to relax more. He stretched and yawned, then closed his eyes, finally allowing himself to rest. Maya and Arif watched him carefully, feeling a mix of relief and wonder. How could such a small, vulnerable animal have such a strong presence? There was something about Toby that felt different, almost special. As the night deepened, a soft wind blew through the slightly open window, carrying the scent of wet grass and earth. Maya shivered slightly but felt comforted by the warmth of the room. Toby twitched in his sleep, making soft whimpering sounds, and Maya leaned closer to gently comfort him. She whispered softly, telling him that everything was okay, that he was safe, and that he had finally found a home. Arif watched quietly, his eyes following Toby's small movements. He had never thought a simple act of stopping for a lost dog could bring such feelings of warmth and connection. "I think he knows we will take care of him," Arif said quietly. "He trusts us already," Maya nodded. "I think he does. It's like he chose us, not the other way around." Hours passed, and the house was silent except for the soft sounds of the night. Occasionally, Toby's ears would twitch, and he would lift his head slightly, alert to every small sound. Maya and Arif noticed it, and a sense of awe filled them. There was something unusual about him, a quiet awareness that they had not expected from a small dog. At one point, Toby stood up and walked carefully around his little bed, sniffing the air. His movements were slow but deliberate, as if he was checking the room for safety. Maya and Arif exchanged a surprised glance. "He's very careful," Maya whispered. "Almost like he's watching over us too." Arif smiled. "Maybe he is. He saved himself on the road, and now he might be protecting us." Maya felt a strange sense of calm mixed with wonder. She had rescued many animals before, but none had such an alert and careful presence. Toby's eyes, though small and gentle, seemed to hold understanding beyond what a dog usually knew. Maya wondered if he had sensed something before they even found him, something that made him trust them immediately. The night wore on, and soon it was late. Maya and Arif decided to stay in the living room for a little while longer, just to make sure Toby was comfortable and safe. They placed a small blanket over themselves and settled on the couch, keeping a quiet watch on their new companion. Toby lay on his bed, curled up and resting, but his ears twitched occasionally, and his nose sniffed the air softly. Maya thought about the road where they had found him, about how alone and scared he must have been. Her heart ached at the thought, but at the same time she felt proud that they had stopped to help. It was a small act, but it had made a big difference. Toby was alive and safe because they had chosen to act. Arif reached over and held Maya's hand. "I am glad we found him," he said softly. "He is special, I can feel it." Maya nodded. "Yes, he is. I feel like he brought something with him, something that we don't understand yet." They stayed awake for a while longer, watching Toby breathe softly in his sleep. The house was quiet, but Maya could not shake a feeling that something was different about this little dog. It was not fear or worry, it was curiosity and wonder. Toby seemed to carry a sense of purpose, a sense of knowing that they could not yet understand. Finally, Maya and Arif decided to rest. They lay down on the couch near Toby, who immediately curled up closer to them as if sensing their decision to sleep. His small body radiated warmth and trust, and Maya felt a sense of peace she had not known in a long time. As she closed her eyes, she thought about the events of the day. A small dog on the road had changed their evening completely. From the moment they had stopped, their lives had shifted in ways they could not yet imagine. The thought filled her with hope and a little excitement. Toby's breathing grew slower, steadier. Maya could hear the soft rhythm and found herself relaxing completely. It was as if his calmness had a magical effect, washing away the stress and worries of the day. Arif was already asleep, his hand still holding hers, and Maya allowed herself to drift into a light sleep as well. The house was quiet, wrapped in the calm of the night. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of fresh earth and wet grass. Inside, the warmth of the room and the presence of Toby created a safe and comforting atmosphere. Maya and Arif slept with the little dog near them, unaware of the surprises the next morning would bring. Even in sleep, Maya could feel Toby's small body pressing gently against hers, a reminder that he was not just a pet, but a guardian and a companion. It was a new beginning for all of them, and though they did not know it yet, the night was the first step in a journey full of wonder and mystery. And so, the night passed peacefully. Toby rested, Maya and Arif rested, and the quiet house seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the morning to come. The little dog had found a home, and in return, he was already changing the lives of those who had saved him. The morning light filtered gently through the curtains, painting soft golden stripes across the living room. Maya woke first, stretching slowly as she yawned. Her eyes fell on Toby, who was no longer curled up on his little bed. At first, she thought he might have wandered off in search of food or water. She called softly, "Toby, come here." There was no response. Her heart skipped a beat. Something about the silence felt strange. Normally, Toby would whine or bark softly to get attention, but the room was quiet except for the faint sound of the wind outside. Maya got up and looked around carefully. The dog was standing perfectly still in the middle of the living room, his small body rigid, ears upright, and eyes locked on the far wall. "Toby?" she asked again, her voice trembling slightly. At that moment, Arif stirred on the couch, opening his eyes slowly. "What is it?" he asked, still half asleep. "Look," Maya whispered, pointing toward Toby and the wall. Arif rubbed his eyes and focused on the spot. At first he saw nothing unusual, but as his gaze adjusted to the morning light, he noticed a faint dark shadow moving slowly across the wall. It was not caused by the sunlight or any objects in the room. It shifted and twisted as if it had a life of its own. "What is that?" Arif asked quietly, standing up. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed a hint of worry. Toby let out a low, soft growl. It was not threatening, but it carried a sense of warning. He stepped forward slightly, keeping his eyes on the wall, and his small body trembled as if sensing something that Arif and Maya could not see. Maya's heart pounded. She had never seen Toby act this way before. Usually he was playful, cautious, or curious. But this was different. His entire being was focused, alert, and tense. It was almost as if he were standing guard. Maybe it's a trick of the light, Arif said, though he didn't sound convinced. He moved closer to the wall, trying to see what could be causing the shadow. But when he reached out his hand, he realized there was nothing there. His fingers passed through empty space, and the shadow did not disappear or change its form. Maya's eyes widened in surprise. "It's not real, but it looks real," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Toby knows something we don't." Toby barked softly, a warning that made both Maya and Arif step back. The dog positioned himself in front of them, blocking the way to the shadow. He stood firm, his small body tense but brave, protecting them as if he understood the danger more clearly than they did. For a few moments, the three of them stood in silence. The shadow continued to move slowly on the wall, changing shape and stretching in strange ways. Toby's eyes never left it, and his growls became more insistent, though never loud enough to alarm beyond caution. Maya reached out to Arif, holding his hand tightly. "I don't understand this," she said softly. "It's like he's protecting us from something we cannot see." Arif nodded. "I think you are right. He must sense it. Dogs can feel things humans cannot. Maybe he is warning us." The shadow suddenly moved downward, sliding toward the floor like a thick, dark mist. Toby immediately stepped forward, placing himself directly between the shadow and the couple. His tiny body seemed stronger and braver than its size suggested. With a low bark, he nudged the shadow back toward the wall, keeping it contained. Maya gasped. "How can a small dog do that?" she whispered. Her voice trembled with awe and a little fear. Arif knelt beside Toby, placing a hand gently on his back. "I don't know," he said quietly. "But I think he has a purpose. He came to us for a reason, and now he's protecting us." The shadow paused for a moment, then slowly receded, stretching back up the wall as if deciding to wait. Toby never left his position. His eyes remained fixed on the shifting dark form, and his small body did not relax for even a second. Maya and Arif could feel their hearts racing. They had never experienced anything like this before. The normal morning light, the chirping birds outside, and the quiet room could not take away the tension in the air. Toby's presence was the only thing that made them feel a little safer, though they had no idea why the shadow existed or what it wanted. "We should call someone who knows about animals," Maya suggested cautiously. "Maybe they can tell us if Toby can sense something unusual." Arif nodded. "Yes, that's a good idea. But for now, we need to stay calm and let him handle it." They moved slowly, careful not to startle Toby or the shadow. The little dog remained focused, growling softly whenever the shadow moved even slightly. It was clear he understood more than they did, and his vigilance made Maya and Arif feel a mix of awe and gratitude. Time passed slowly. The morning sunlight became stronger, filling the room with brightness, but the shadow did not disappear. It lingered faintly on the wall, moving only when Toby shifted his gaze. Maya and Arif watched in silence, feeling a strange mix of fear, curiosity, and admiration for the small dog. Finally, Toby stepped closer to Maya, nudging her gently with his nose. It was as if he was telling her that the shadow was retreating and that they were safe for the moment. Maya knelt down and stroked his head. "Thank you, Toby," she whispered. "I don't know what we would do without you." Arif smiled, feeling a deep respect for the little dog. "He's more than just a pet," he said quietly. "He's our protector. I think he came to us to keep us safe from things we cannot see." Maya nodded, still watching the faint shadow. She could not explain what it was or why it appeared, but she felt a strange sense of trust in Toby. Whatever it was, he was not afraid, and that gave her courage. The shadow slowly faded as the morning light grew stronger. Toby remained alert for a while, sniffing the air and moving cautiously around the room. But eventually he relaxed slightly, curling up on his bed again. Maya and Arif breathed a sigh of relief, though they knew this was not the end of the mystery. "This is incredible," Maya whispered. "We rescued him, and now he's protecting us from something we don't understand." Arif nodded. "Yes, and I think we need to learn more about him. There is something special about Toby. I can feel it." Maya watched Toby for a moment longer. The little dog's eyes were calm now, but there was still a spark of awareness and intelligence in them that made her feel as if he could see more than humans ever could. She reached out and held his paw gently. "We will take care of you, Toby. No matter what, you are safe with us." Toby wagged his tail slightly as if acknowledging her words. It was a small, comforting gesture that made Maya feel more hopeful and less afraid. Arif stood and stretched. "We should let him rest for a while. He has been through a lot, and who knows what else might happen today." Maya nodded. "Yes, you're right. But I cannot stop thinking about that shadow. There is something unusual about this little dog. He must have a reason for being here." The couple watched Toby for a few more minutes, noting how alert he remained even as he lay down. It was clear that this was no ordinary dog. He had come into their lives for a purpose, and they both felt a sense of awe and gratitude for the chance to care for him. As the sunlight filled the room, Maya and Arif began to prepare for the day, but the morning's strange events remained in their minds. They could not explain what had happened, but they knew one thing. Toby had saved them in a way they could not yet understand. The little dog had come into their lives at just the right moment, and his presence was already changing everything. Maya and Arif realized that their decision to rescue him was not just an act of kindness. It was the beginning of a journey filled with wonder, mystery, and perhaps even danger that they could not yet see. And as Toby lay quietly on his bed, his small eyes watching them with quiet intelligence, they felt a deep sense of reassurance. Whatever came next, they knew that he would be there to protect them. The morning had started like any other, but by the time the sun rose fully, Maya and Arif understood that their lives had already changed forever. Toby was more than a dog. He was a guardian, a friend, and a mysterious presence that they would come to rely on more than they could ever imagine. After the strange events of the morning, Maya and Arif spent the next few hours trying to return to a sense of normalcy. Toby, however, did not relax completely. He stayed alert, moving carefully around the living room, sniffing the air and occasionally glancing toward corners of the room where nothing seemed to exist. It was clear to Maya and Arif that he was still aware of something they could not see. Maya sat on the couch, her hands resting on her lap, watching Toby. "It's incredible," she whispered. "I've never seen a dog act like this before. He knows something we cannot understand." Arif leaned back in his chair, frowning slightly. "I feel it too. There is something strange about this house today. Something different, but I don't know what it is." Toby's small body suddenly stiffened. His ears pricked up and his tail held straight. He let out a soft, warning growl, low but insistent. Maya and Arif immediately followed his gaze. There was nothing visible at first, just the sunlight streaming through the windows and casting patterns on the floor. Yet Toby's attention was focused, unbroken, and filled with determination. The shadow from earlier had not reappeared, but Toby's alertness suggested that it was still nearby, perhaps hidden or waiting. He began to circle a particular corner of the living room, sniffing and occasionally pawing at the floor. Maya leaned forward, curiosity overcoming her fear. "What is he doing?" she asked softly. Arif shook his head. "I don't know, but I think he is trying to show us something. Dogs can sense things we cannot. Maybe he wants us to follow him." Maya nodded, and together they moved carefully toward Toby. The little dog stopped and turned to look at them, as if asking for permission to continue. They nodded silently, trusting him completely. Toby moved ahead, pacing slowly and deliberately toward the far corner of the room. Maya and Arif followed, their steps quiet, hearts racing with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. When they reached the corner, Toby stopped abruptly. He sniffed the floor carefully, then barked softly. His tail wagged once, a subtle but clear signal that he had found something important. Maya knelt down and inspected the area. The floor looked ordinary at first glance, just a corner with some old furniture pushed aside. Yet Toby pawed at a section of the wooden floor, scratching gently as if trying to uncover something hidden. Arif crouched beside her. "Do you think there is a trapdoor or something?" he asked quietly. Maya nodded slowly. "It's possible. Toby wouldn't be acting like this for no reason." She carefully moved a chair and a small cabinet aside, revealing a slightly different texture in the floorboards. One board looked older, worn differently from the others, and Toby's nose pressed against it as he sniffed eagerly. Maya opened the box slowly. Inside were several old letters tied together with a ribbon and a small key made of brass. The letters were yellowed with age, but the handwriting was neat and careful. Maya carefully lifted the top letter and began to read. Arif peered over her shoulder. "Do you understand what it says?" he asked. Maya nodded slowly. It looks like someone lived here long ago. The letters talk about the house, about family, and about a special dog who protected the home. They mention a secret space where things were kept safe. She paused, glancing at Toby. It mentions a dog that could sense danger, just like Toby. Arif's eyes widened. Are you saying Toby is connected to this place? That he came here for a reason? Maya looked down at Toby, who barked softly again and wagged his tail. I think he did, she whispered. He is more than just a dog. He came here to protect us and to show us this secret. The couple carefully examined the letters, reading about the history of the house and the family who had lived there decades ago. The letters described how the previous dog of the family would always sense danger and guide the family safely. It seemed almost magical, but the story matched what they had experienced with Toby. As they continued reading, Toby walked around the secret space, sniffing and nudging the letters gently. It was as if he understood the importance of what they had found. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. The little dog was not ordinary, and everything they had experienced so far suggested that he had a special purpose. Hours passed as they explored the secret space and the letters. Maya and Arif felt a growing sense of awe and wonder. The house, the letters, and Toby were all connected in ways they could not fully understand. The mysterious events of the morning now made sense in part. Toby had sensed the shadow, had guided them to the secret space, and had revealed a hidden part of the house that held a long-forgotten history. Toby barked again, drawing their attention to a small section of the secret space. There, hidden under the letters, was the folded piece of cloth. Maya unfolded it carefully and found a small old photograph. It showed a family with a dog that looked very much like Toby. The resemblance was remarkable. Arif took the photograph gently. This is amazing, he said softly. It's like Toby is connected to this family. Maybe he is a descendant of that dog, or maybe there is something more. Maya smiled, brushing her hand along Toby's head. I think he is here to help us. He came to protect us and to guide us to this place. He is showing us a history we never knew, and he is part of it. The little dog wagged his tail happily as if he understood their words. He had guided them to the discovery, and now the couple realized how important it was to care for him and trust him completely. As the day wore on, Maya and Arif explored more of the house, guided by Toby's instincts. Every corner he sniffed, every movement he made seemed to reveal something new. It was clear that he had a deep connection to the house and its history. The small shadow from the morning never returned, but Toby's alertness never wavered. He remained vigilant, watching over them carefully, as if guarding the house from unseen threats. By the evening, Maya and Arif sat in the living room, reflecting on the day's discoveries. This is more than I ever imagined, Maya said quietly. A dog on the road led us to a secret history, a hidden space, and now we understand that he is protecting us. Arif nodded. Yes, and I feel like this is only the beginning. Toby came into our lives for a reason, and we are just starting to understand it. Toby curled up between them, resting his head on Maya's lap. His eyes were calm but alert, and his small body radiated warmth and reassurance. Maya and Arif knew that whatever mysteries remained in the house or beyond, Toby would guide them safely. The night grew darker, and the couple prepared for sleep. They felt a deep sense of gratitude and wonder. Toby was not just a rescued dog, he was a guardian, a guide, and a connection to a past that had waited patiently for someone to uncover it. As they drifted off to sleep, they knew that the journey with Toby had only just begun. There were more secrets to uncover, more mysteries to solve, and more surprises that would challenge their understanding of the world. But they also knew that with Toby by their side, they were safe and ready to face whatever came next. The little dog had rescued them as much as they had rescued him, and now he had shown them the importance of trust, courage, and the quiet magic that sometimes enters life in unexpected ways. The morning sunlight streamed gently through the windows, filling the house with a warm golden light. Maya and Arif woke feeling rested, but there was a quiet tension in the air. Last night they had discovered the hidden space, the letters, and the photograph that linked Toby to a family long ago. They were still trying to process everything, and Toby seemed unusually alert, pacing carefully around the living room, and occasionally stopping to sniff at corners or look at the sunlight streaming through the curtains. Maya got up first and watched Toby. "He is so different from any dog I've ever known," she whispered. "It's like he understands everything that is happening here." Arif joined her, stretching and rubbing his eyes. "Yes, he came to us for a reason," he said softly. "I think he was meant to be part of this house, part of its history, and now part of our lives." Toby barked softly and wagged his tail, as if confirming what Arif had said. His eyes were bright and intelligent, full of understanding, and his small body carried a quiet confidence. He had led them to the secret space and had protected them from the shadow that morning. It was clear he was more than just a pet. He was a guardian, a guide, and a friend who had come into their lives at exactly the right moment. Maya knelt down and stroked Toby's fur gently. "Thank you for choosing us," she said softly. "We will take care of you, and you will always be safe here." Toby leaned into her hand, pressing his head against her chest, and wagged his tail slowly, as if acknowledging her words. After breakfast, Maya and Arif decided to examine the letters in the wooden box more carefully. The letters spoke of a family who had lived in the house decades ago, describing how their dog had always been aware of danger, protecting the home, and guiding the family. The letters mentioned a secret space beneath the floor where important items and memories were kept safe. Reading them, Maya and Arif realized that Toby's behavior mirrored that of the dog in the letters. He had sensed danger, guided them to the hidden space, and revealed the long-forgotten history of the house. Arif picked up the small brass key from the wooden box. "Do you think it opens something else in the house?" he asked. Maya shook her head slowly. "It could be, or maybe it is symbolic. Either way, Toby led us to it, so it must be important." Toby barked softly, as if agreeing with her. He walked toward the hallway, sniffing at the door at the far end of the living room. Maya and Arif followed, curious and cautious. The key felt significant in Arif's hand, and the anticipation of discovering its purpose filled the room with a quiet excitement. When they reached the door, Toby sat down in front of it, staring at the key in Arif's hand. He barked gently, urging them to try it. Arif knelt down and inserted the key into the lock. To their surprise, it fit perfectly. With a soft click, the door swung open, revealing a small room that had been hidden from view for decades. The room was filled with old furniture, neatly arranged and covered with sheets to protect it from dust. There were shelves along the walls holding boxes, books, and a few small personal items that had been preserved carefully. The air smelled faintly of wood and paper, and the morning sunlight illuminated the space, giving it a warm, almost magical glow. Maya stepped inside, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like a time capsule," she whispered. "Everything here has been waiting for someone to find it." Arif nodded, equally amazed. "And Toby led us here. He has brought us to the heart of the house's history." Toby walked around the room, sniffing at the boxes and gently pawing at some of the items. He stopped near a small desk in the corner and barked softly, nudging a particular box. Maya carefully opened it and found photographs, letters, and a few small trinkets that had belonged to the family decades ago. The photographs showed the same dog from the letters, the dog who had been part of the family and protected the house. The resemblance to Toby was remarkable. "This is incredible," Maya said softly. "It's like he is connected to this house in ways we cannot fully understand. He is part of the history, part of the story, and now part of our lives." Arif smiled, brushing his hand along Toby's head. "He chose us for a reason. He is not just a dog. He is our guardian and our guide." The couple spent the next few hours carefully exploring the hidden room, reading the letters, and examining the items left behind. Each discovery deepened their understanding of the house, the family who had lived there, and the extraordinary dog who had protected them all. Toby remained alert, moving carefully around the room, sniffing and watching, ensuring that everything was safe. By afternoon, Maya and Arif had organized the letters and photographs, placing them neatly on the desk. Toby lay down nearby, resting but still alert, his eyes following every small movement in the room. Maya and Arif sat quietly for a moment, absorbing the magnitude of what they had found. "It feels like we are part of something bigger," Maya whispered. "Something that connects the past and the present." Arif nodded. "Yes, and Toby is at the center of it. He has shown us the importance of this house and its history. He has brought us here to understand it, and to protect it." As the evening approached, the couple prepared a small dinner in the kitchen. Toby stayed close, following them around and occasionally resting his head on their legs. There was a sense of calm and peace in the house now, a feeling that everything was in its right place. The shadow from the morning had not returned, and the house seemed to settle into a quiet, comforting rhythm. After dinner, Maya and Arif returned to the hidden room one last time for the day. They carefully placed the letters and photographs back in the box and locked it with the brass key. Toby watched attentively, his tail wagging slowly, as if he understood the importance of what they had done. Maya knelt down and hugged Toby gently. "Thank you for everything, Toby," she said softly. "We could not have discovered this without you." Toby leaned into her embrace, his small body warm and comforting. He barked softly, a sound that felt like agreement and reassurance. The couple knew that he was not just a dog. They understood now that he was a special presence, a guardian who had chosen them to carry on the care and protection of the house and its history. That night, Maya and Arif slept in the living room with Toby nestled between them. The little dog had become a permanent part of their lives, not only as a pet but as a protector and a guide. The events of the past day had shown them the extraordinary connection between Toby, the house, and the history they had uncovered. It was a bond that went beyond words, a silent understanding that Toby would always watch over them. Over the next few days, Maya and Arif continued to explore the house, guided by Toby's instincts. They discovered small details that they had never noticed before, hidden spaces and items that told stories of the past. Toby remained vigilant, always alert to the smallest movement, the faintest sound in every corner of the home. His presence gave them confidence, courage, and a sense of wonder that made every day feel special. Maya and Arif also began to feel the deeper meaning of Toby's arrival. He had rescued them as much as they had rescued him. Their act of kindness had brought him into their lives, and in return, he had shown them a world of history, mystery, and protection that they could never have imagined. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky with colors similar to the day they had found him on the road, Maya sat on the porch with Toby at her side. Arif joined them, holding a cup of tea. They watched the sky in silence, feeling a quiet sense of contentment and gratitude. "Everything has changed since he came into our lives," Maya said softly. "He has taught us so much about trust, care, and the quiet magic that can appear unexpectedly." Arif nodded. "Yes, and he will continue to guide us. Toby is more than a dog. He is our companion, our protector, and our connection to something greater than ourselves." Toby looked up at them, his eyes shining with understanding. He barked softly, wagged his tail, and then rested his head on Maya's lap. In that moment, the couple knew that their journey with Toby had just begun, but they also knew that they were safe, loved, and guided by a presence that was extraordinary and rare. The house, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place filled with life, mystery, and love. Toby had brought them together with the past, protected them in ways they could not fully understand, and showed them the importance of trust, courage, and connection. Maya and Arif smiled, holding hands as they watched the sun dip below the horizon. Toby, the little dog they had rescued on the road, had become their family, their guardian, and the heart of their home. Together, they were ready to face whatever the future held, knowing that with Toby by their side, they would always be safe and never alone. The day ended with a calm, warm feeling that filled the house. Toby slept peacefully between them, a small guardian with a big heart, and Maya and Arif finally understood the true meaning of their journey. It was not just about rescuing a dog. It was about discovering friendship, trust, and the quiet magic that could change a life forever.